So with that, I have a fun anecdotal story about, kind of in this theme about, hey, we've gone over selections here on the podcast that are like in integer dollars, right?
Hmm.
$6, whatever. There's some great selections that are in 10 to 20. If you can afford 50, we have you there. We have some
Couple in
selection.
the hundreds,
We
couple in the
have a
hundreds.
couple in the hundreds. So if you're in that position, great. But again, those are maybe a handful. Like it's like less than 10, right? The predominant
Hmm.
focus of our investing strategy has been on stocks. I'd say $10 to $30, right? So if you're a younger fella. And you want some advice from completely unsolicited advice from two unks, it would be to kind of set some money aside every so often, be it every week, every month. I have looking back on it, I wish I had somebody who would grab me by the shoulders and shake me and tell me that, right? Because you're probably wondering why this text is up here. Back in the day, I used to be really into car audio, and I had these big subwoofers, and that I was one of those guys. And I had an amp, obviously a huge amp for the subwoofers, but I had speakers inside the car, the front speakers, the rear speakers. Each of those had their own amp. So every time I got one, I was all excited, and I would tell Zach, "Hey Zach, I got this amp. It has 250 watt, 1,000 watt, blah blah blah." And he's like, "But didn't you just buy an amp?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. This was for the front speakers."
Right,
It's
right,
like,
right.
"Oh, no, 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 no. Now this was for the back speakers, right? The rear
Hmm.
speakers." And he's just kind of like, "Okay." So,
Doesn't
rewind.
compute for me, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So it's just like rewinding that and just like the evolution of my mentality. And, I'm obviously taking responsibility for that mindset, but I do see this a lot. It is impressed upon the young people. I obviously didn't have a very good role model in terms of a father growing up who would just completely ape and spend every single penny he had on just random bullshit. But that is part of the culture too. If you listen to the music, it's all about flashy shit and showing off and stuff like that. So I
Yep.
wasn't entirely, completely guilty, but I do take my responsibility in that. And when I look back on all the stocks I could have gotten, like Google at $10, for example. This
Hmm.
was back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, right? Where we have these tech giants who were still in, the single or double digits, right? And if I would have just done that, I probably would be in a position where I wouldn't be doing this podcast at all. I'd be on a beach somewhere. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Uh,
yeah,
well, you still go on beaches anyway, but
I
yeah,
do, but
the
yeah, yeah,
lesson learned either
yeah,
way. But yeah,
yeah.
the
Listen, learn. I would be I would be even wealthier than I am today. So,
look, it's like I was joking with Danny. I was like, look, Danny, if you just did a little less cocaine,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
that
you
too.
took that
Yeah.
money and you
Right,
put
right.
it into
So
MNR
by the way,
or something else like that, like that would actually have big long term
and we
like
would never
payoffs.
tell you
Uh,
not to do drugs or to give up doing drugs. We just want to say, hey, maybe you could do less and
right.
put that aside, put that money
Hey,
aside. Do two baggies in a weekend instead of three.
kid,
You could
kids
spare
are
one.
kids are gonna do what kids are gonna do, right? So that's true. But to be fair, instead of buying extravagant things or aping into SpaceX, for instance, right? If they listened to this podcast and
Yep,
found some of these picks at integer levels that have huge, like
yep.
huge upside potential, especially given the current geopolitical and energy regimes, yeah, by the time they start in their 20s with a small paycheck and they just $100 a month or whatever accumulated, I mean, by the time they're 30, they could potentially retire.